Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chun, and happy Valentine's Day. And I want to say that I love you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you for being here. I thank you for being a part of this Millie crew situation that I have going on. And I just love y'all. And I appreciate you all. And thank you for just listening to me. And that's a lot of love, and I feel it every day. And with all of that sweet stuff being said, I hope you're having a very sweet day. And if you don't have a Valentine's, consider me your Valentine's, because I love you. And with that being said, we're going to get into Kempire and him doing a pseudo surviving Carlos King. Let's go. So Kempire had Teria Faison from the What Else Is Going On podcast. Shout out to her. Go follow her. She had some really good insight, and she was able to plug in the things that Kempire, needed context for. They worked so well together. And shout out to Kempire for shouting me out. I appreciate that. With that being said, let's go. So the first part they got into was really Destiny, right? And all of her lies that she told in this seat, right? And one thing that was really poignant to me is that of all the things that Destiny was saying and how people were saying, male's children, Destiny doesn't want to talk about things because of her son. Like, Martell sitting over there smiling like a chess cat, not realizing Destiny's pulling you into this. Those are your children too, Martell, that are hurting. Like, Destiny is doing that. And they pointed that out, how Martell doesn't have a clue. Kempire also let us know that OWN had contacted him about taking down his post about the scenes that they didn't want us to see. He said YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. So you creators out there, you be careful with that. Child, then they played the video when Bale had gone live, that last live that she did, and she read the text from Destiny talking about how, can we come to where you are? I'm going to have to stalk you because I haven't heard from you. We just need some girl time. I want to bring Law up there because he loves the water. Does that sound like someone you would want your child around if you feel like you're being groomed, right? Just lies. Then they talked about the inappropriate text message that Tisha said she had read from Marceau, right? Male saying, when Marceau said, I'm rooting for you all, and she said, don't root for us, root for me. How is that inappropriate, but you don't have a problem with Marceau calling Male and talking to him about business? He's calling her on the phone, but you tripping about her clarifying, don't root for me and Martell because that's done. You can root for me. It's just, it's giving generic. So it was very interesting that Teria has said that it seems like Carlos is against the Black community, right? Because he'll invite people from Love and Marriage Huntsville and Bale Collective to come on, and then it seems like he pits them against each other, right? Telling Kimmy to get activated. He is the executive producer. Carlos should set himself apart, but everybody knows, he loves to mess. So then they go down this road. The interview Candy did with the House of Aaron, where she let him know, and we're going to say allegedly because we weren't on the phone call, but allegedly Carlos stole her life story along with Escape and sold it to TV One. And you remember when she said, even had somebody over there talking to Mama Joyce about girl bands and how they acted in the girl bands, right? And Candy has worked on set with Carlos. Got him to be, she said she fought for him to be the executive producer, I think for either their wedding. It was their wedding. And it hurt her. And Candy started crying, and people always feel like she telling the truth because she crying. But in this particular situation, I believed her, because how could you work with me, talk to me, produce me maybe, and then you go behind my back and you come and looking in my face and you try to steal my story? I worked for that. This girl worked for that. She's still trying to work for that. That's crazy. But like Kempire says, let's cover ourselves. Carlo has denied any accusations in this whole situation. Okay. So we're here now with Three the Hard Way. And the first one up is Aisha Holly Cologne, right? And Teria was talking about how the frame froze when Aisha announced that the colognes are done, right? And they also talked about the text message that Latrice has sent Aisha. And it comes out that production and Carlos knew about that text message and did nothing about it. And that is definitely one of the reasons that Aisha left. Then they talk about Socci, and they bring up the interview that I did with her, and they talked about the reason she actually left was because of the messy Mondays that he did with Socci, and he made it private and didn't post it at all. And Socci said that was the reason. That was the start of her deciding that she was going to leave Bale Collective. And she went on to say that had he called her, she probably would have come back to the show because he did a wellness call in January to ask her to come back. And she was like, no, because she realized that if she did come back, she would be the target. So she's out. So now we're here with Winter, right? And her interview that she did with Queen Sheba. Shout out to Queen Sheba. So there were three things that stuck out, right? She said, first of all, they kind of villainized her because she was no longer doing her relationship coaching, but they came at her from a relationship coach standpoint, and they made it kind of seem like she was jealous of her castmates because as a relationship coach, she can't be in a relationship. She can't get a man. So that would make her the villain. And she said that is not at all what that was. And then, of course, you know, she talked about the money, how she made like less than $2,500 allegedly. And then she talked about how she wasn't used to men being aggressive. And when she was at the reunion and the men were yelling at her and calling her names, she said she could hear producer over to the side yelling, get her. And she said she kind of had to mentally check out so that she just wouldn't cry on stage. That is crazy. I love what Teria had said. You know, she said, I'm tired of black folks. And then she said men. And then she said basically Carlos causing destruction and distress in black women and telling them that they're going to be okay because they're strong. And he loves to say that. You're a strong woman. You're going to be good. But I don't have to be torn down by my kind, especially someone who's supposed to be making me a star, making me rich. You know what I'm saying? Because these are the things that he says he does for the people that he works with. A mess. And Teria and Kempire were saying how he's the moderator. And Teria went on to say, you want to be the moderator and be in the mess. And you can't do both. And there's so many people who have said that Carlos wants to be all in the shows, all on the reunions, all in the spotlight. Do you want to be the talent or do you want to be the executive producer? Because it's given you want to be the star. And you're just not doing people right. Allegedly. And Kempire made a very good point. You know how Carlos talks about how people who don't do well blamed on the edits. But he said how it's edited matters, right? It's how we see the people. And it's how we form our opinions about them. Because both of these people, including myself, didn't really see it for Winter at first. She was not my favorite after a couple of episodes. But she grew on me. But she was edited to be the villain. And Carlos knows exactly what he's doing. So Kempire and Teria wrapped it up by taking some phone calls and reading some messages. Shout out to Show Styles and Spirit and Braylon Lee. I saw you all. And also just what they put together for Carlos, right? Now, Carlos made this post and he has been asked to be the host for the Real Screen Awards for 2025. Although this is great, but when you have compilations like this and your name is really mud in these streets, this kind of stuff doesn't even matter because you don't seem to be for women. You don't seem to have a positive work environment. And it just doesn't look good. Y'all, we could talk about it in the comments. It's your girl, Millie Chun, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Happy Valentine's Day.